Hello viewers, Super GT here. As we get closer and closer to the release of Gran Turismo 7, I think it's fair to say we haven't been told much about the online multiplayer. Now, this is a mode that I think many of us will be interested in, and therefore we demand answers. In this one, I'm going to try and go through everything we've seen so far, which isn't much, and try to come to some conclusion about what the online is going to be like. The State of Play trailer recently was about 33 minutes long, and it only included about 1 minute 20 of multiplayer footage. So it really wasn't a big portion of the game, or at least they didn't really want to talk too much about it. Now, before we dive in, just want to say a massive thank you to all the new subscribers. Welcome along to the channel. Thank you for subbing. But with that said, first things first, let's take a look at the modes that are available in multiplayer. So they did briefly mention that there's going to be a 2-player split screen option. Not sure how many people are going to take advantage of this, but it's there, and that counts as multiplayer, I guess. I think most of us are interested in the online multiplayer, and so we get to this part of the State of Play, which shows a lobby, a meeting place. You can see that at the top left there, meeting place room 2. So we have meeting places, lobbies, and sport mode. Now, from what they say here, the meeting places are a place where you can just kind of chat, hang out, just go out on track to practice together, and it's more sort of a relaxed atmosphere. Lobbies, they didn't really say exactly what that is, but at least on Gran Turismo Sport, where you can set up custom races, so it's hard to tell what the difference is between lobbies and meeting places exactly. And then here we have sport mode, so this is sort of the most competitive element of online multiplayer. So lobbies and sport mode look like they're fairly similar to GT Sport. So just taking a look at this daily race screenshot, there's not much you can really work out, but there is a little bit. So at the top, just about there, daily race, race A. Now that doesn't give us much clues as to how many daily races there are. GT Sport has 3, daily race A, B and C. I was hoping they're going to add another one. We don't know if there's going to be any more at the moment. But here it says race A. So it looks like they're keeping a similar format. So race A, race B, race C. Maybe more, who knows? And this one is a 2-lap race, which looks like quite a short race. When you consider on the other side of the page, they have the qualifying times. So 2 minutes 28 for the guy on pole position there. And that would be, what, a 5-minute race for daily race A? So something else to consider is how often the daily race is going to be. On Gran Turismo Sport, the daily race A is every 20 minutes, daily race B is every 20 minutes, daily race C is every 30 minutes. And here, with a 5-minute race plus warm-up, you could probably be in and out of this race within 8 or 9 minutes. Maybe you could have a race every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes again, every 10 minutes. Could be pushing it. But what I think you will notice over this video is a developing theme of there really is not much information. And one of the main things I want to do with this video is sort of create a discussion about the thoughts of multiplayer, what you think will be there, and what your expectations are, what your hopes are for the online. Let's take a look at the term daily race. Now, they're still using the term daily race. Does this mean they've returned to actual daily races where they change them every day rather than every week? We don't know. But I would like to think that this game will start how Gran Turismo Sport started, with fresh races changed every day. I think that they will go back to that based on zero knowledge at all, but I think that is what they will do. And on that note, I really hope they do increase or improve the variety of races, because sometimes the combinations between the car and the track does get a little bit repetitive, with Maggiore coming up most weeks, or certain combinations just appearing over and over again, like Group 3 at Interlagos. We've had that about 400 times. So things like that hopefully will improve as well. So another thing we can deduce from this page is, if you take a look at the car in second, the Mazda RX-8, the grey one, it has a rear wing, which suggests that you are allowed to bring your own car into the race, which can be customized beforehand. Whereas in GT Sport, daily race A, they would give you the car, and it usually was a choice of 3 or 4 or 5 cars. There are 12 cars on this list if I pan all the way down. And you see the car that's been chosen as well also has a spoiler, so it suggests that they've bought this car, they've tuned it or upgraded it, put the wing on it, and then they can bring that to the party. And then of course up here you have the weather. This is something that you'll have to take note of, I suppose, given that the game will now have the weather radar and the dynamic conditions So the race will start at 6:30, it's clear, 0% chance of rain, or does that mean there's 0% rain right now? Maybe it could develop into the race. So we have to see exactly what that means. But that is something else different that you have to pay attention to now, I suppose. And another thing that we can deduce here is the regions that are in the game. Now, if you look at all of the flags there, they all belong to the Asia-Oceania region, which suggests that the game will be split by region once again. Could be pure coincidence, but I don't think so. When we look back at this part of the trailer, this is a meeting place room. And if you look at the flags here on this list, Britain, Spain, Germany, USA, you also have Brazil and Japan. So it looks like anyone from all around the world can join into a meeting place. I will presume the same will be true of lobbies. As on GT Sport, you can race anyone around the world, but it will be sport mode where you are divided by the region once again. Now, I think another question people may well have is that of the grid size. Can we get more cars on the track? Can we get more cars in the races? So back to this part of the trailer again. This is a daily race A, and there's 12 people in this lobby, and it's a daily race A. That is the same as GT Sport. So if everything is the same as it is in Gran Turismo Sport, it'll be 12 in race A, 16 in race B, 20 in race C. And this is confirmed when you look on the Gran Turismo 7 PlayStation Store page. If you take a look, where is it? There. So it supports 20 online players. So it gives you all the information you need to know. There's not going to be more than 20 players in any online race. So another bit of very interesting news is that of sportsmanship and driver rating. Turns out they're going to be carrying over your rating from Gran Turismo Sport into GT7. And it's going to be your rating as of February the 15th. So whatever your rating was on February the 15th, which is in the past now, that will be your driver rating and sportsmanship rating at the very start of GT7. Now, personally, I was quite looking forward to going and starting from zero once again. You get that kind of vibe where everyone's in the same boat and it's all a bit of a mess, but that's kind of normal on the kind of release day or the first week of a new game. And to be fair, if you want to embrace the carnage of the lower rated lobbies, you can just make another account. So it actually isn't too tricky to experience that if you want to do that. I think one of the reasons they probably did this is to preserve the integrity, I suppose, of the FIA Championship, so that all the players' ratings are just as they were and they can just hit the ground running with those championships once again. I would like to know your thoughts, whether or not you would prefer that they all started from zero again, everyone goes from zero rating and has to start once more, or if, just keeping it as it is the better way forward. Now, something we really have not got much info about is
the penalty system.
Yes, the good old penalty system. Again, absolutely zero information about this, and that is going to worry quite a lot of people, because over the course of GT Sport, sometimes it was pretty good, sometimes it was awful, then it was good again, and it just fluctuated and we didn't know what it was doing. And obviously we're hoping for an improvement. I think in terms of track limits, it's pretty good. It gets it right most of the time. But in terms of contact, that's where it wasn't so good. At the moment, it's pretty much turned off. So you can ram away at your heart's content. But that's not what we really want. We do want some cleaner racing. Penalty system, we're going to have to see. Just like most of the multiplayer, to be honest. Another component of multiplayer will be that of the FIA races. Now, I see no reason why this will end, because with the Nations Cup and the Manufacturers Series, the esports championships of Gran Turismo, they're going to want to continue those. It might not be branded as FIA, but those two championships, at least, I see no reason why they're going to stop. I say one of the reasons they kept the ratings from the previous game is for the FIA championships. And if you look at the world map, the logo at the back right, that is like the FIA trophy. I'd imagine it's going to be very similar looking with the Nations Cup, Manufacturer Series, daily races, as it is in GT Sport. So when you look at the multiplayer lobby screen here, it's actually incredibly similar. It's just formatted differently. The information is the same. The players in the grid, their qualifying times, the chat on one side, the track, the car that you've chosen, daily race A, the date, then at the top, your car credits, etc. So none of that is actually really new. It's just formatted slightly differently. Then the only thing that is different, I suppose, is the 0% rain. So that's something you'll have to think about now. So as you can imagine, making this video is quite tricky because there really just is minimal information to go on. But actually, that kind of tells me a lot. It tells me that the online is just going to be the same as Gran Turismo Sport. They probably don't want to say anything about it because there isn't more to say about it. If I was allowed to sort of wish for 3 things in this multiplayer, I would say hopefully there'll be a daily race D rather than just having the 3 races. Sometimes, you log on, the 3 races, you don't like them, so you're kind of stuck for that week. Or if it's daily, you're stuck for that day. So daily race D would be pretty cool. Perhaps some sort of weekly tournament would be quite good. Something like what Project Gotham Racing used to do, where everyone would enter into a tournament, have races, and then sort of the top 4 or top 5 would go through to the next stage. Or maybe a daily race, which actually only takes place once a week on a Saturday or a Sunday, which is like a 1-hour endurance race, and you have to qualify on the spot rather than having a qualifying done beforehand. Something along those lines would be pretty cool. And I'm very much hoping for better variety in the race choices. Now, we do have, of course, some different tracks to play with. Not a huge amount. Trial Mountain, High Speed Ring, Deep Forest, Daytona. I do hope they utilize those a little bit better because the combinations in Gran Turismo Sport were often getting repetitive, especially for those of us who are still playing it 4.5 years after its release. Overall thoughts on what the multiplayer is going to be like. To me, at least sport mode wise, it looks like it's going to be very much the same again. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing from my perspective. I do enjoy playing sport mode. I still play it now. And, the game is quite old now. It's 4.5 years old. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But if I'm being honest, I was hoping for some sort of expansion, something a bit more detailed, in depth, a bit more variety. But everything at the moment is pointing to it being the same again. I suppose the one more thing that I am hoping to see is a decent rate of DLC. GT Sport had quite a good rate of DLC once it got going. The amount of tracks they added, the amount of cars they added was pretty good, and it was free. So if we can get a solid couple of tracks in the month after the release of the game, that would be very good. A couple more classic circuits, a couple more real circuits as well, and that would improve the variety, which is what I've been going on about a million times. But yeah, get your thoughts in the comments. I want to see them. That is all for me though. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the new viewers, all new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for watching and getting involved. Have yourself an amazing day, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.